Welcome back to Well Life Wednesday podcast, where we have honest conversations about mental health, emotional wellness, faith, recovery, and the everyday work of building a healthier life. I'm Cristy, licensed clinical mental health counselor supervisor.
And I'm Irish, your licensed clinical addiction specialist associate. Today, we're discussing something that many people experience but may be afraid of or ashamed to admit when recovery feels hard again.
There may have been a season where you felt stronger. You were attending therapy, taking your medication as prescribed, going to support meetings, setting boundaries, avoiding unhealthy environments, praying, journaling, or consistently using your coping skills. Then something changed. Life became stressful, an old trigger returned, grief resurfaced, you experienced disappointment, you began feeling emotionally exhausted. The cravings came back, the anxiety increased, depression became heavier, and you started isolating again. And now you may be wondering, why is this getting hard again? I thought I was doing better.
Today, we want to remind you that recovery becoming difficult does not automatically mean that you have failed. It means that you are human. It means that you are circumstances have changed. It means that you need additional support. It means that your recovery plan needs to be adjusted for the season you are currently in.
And I think that's important to know. We have to make sure that we are adjusting to whatever is going on currently.
Mm-hmm.
We get when you put yourself in the same pocket all the time and expect because when things come up, I can handle it the same way every time is not um, effective.
Mm-hmm.
How you were able to handle something last year might not be how you were able to handle something this year. But we before we go deeper into that, let's subscribe to the H3C PLLC YouTube channel. Like this episode, share it with someone who may be struggling, and leave a comment. You can simply comment, I'm still choosing recovery. Your comment may encourage someone else who feels like they are the only person having a difficult time.
Let's talk about recovery is not a straight line.
No, it's not.
One of the biggest misconceptions about recovery is that it should happen in a straight line. People sometimes imagine that once they enter recovery, begin therapy, stop using substance, leave unhealthy relationships, or start managing their mental health symptoms, they should continue getting better every day. But recovery doesn't always look like that.
Right.
They may be good days, difficult days, peaceful seasons, triggering seasons, breakthroughs, setbacks, and periods when you feel emotionally stuck.
Healing is often layered, right? You may work through one part of an experience and later discover an emotional layer connected to it. And you be like, man, I thought I was over this, and something
Mhm.
seep up about it. For example, you may believe that you have healed from a painful relationship, and then you enter a new relationship and realize you're still struggling with trust. And that's why it's important we don't jump from one thing to another. We got to heal from stuff. And the healing doesn't have to be deep. It could be something minor that because we've been in the thing so long, we're used to that.
Mhm.
So when you break a cycle of something or end something, the closure has to be 100%.
Mhm.
Just leaving a person or not being in that environment is not going to do it. You got to make sure now that I'm learning how to um, undo that behavior or learn something new and better before I get back to that same situation again or environment. Because now I know better, I can do better. And I
Mhm.
don't want to bring the old to the new, if that makes sense. You may
Perfect.
have maintained sobriety during a calm season, then a major loss, financial crisis, family conflict, an anniversary, or health concern causes old cravings to return. You never know what the triggering event can be when you're dealing with recovery.
Mm-hmm.
You may have been managing depression well, but in a change in sleep, health issues, medication, employment, housing, or relationships may cause symptoms to increase. That does not erase the progress you have made, though. I want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Life happens. Because you have a minor setback doesn't mean, oh gosh, I'm back to square one. No,
Right.
it means, okay, I need to regroup. I need to look at some things so we can get back on track. It's not the end all be all. I'm still not where I once was. So that's
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we got to praise this for the small things, right?
Yeah. Progress is not erased simply because the journey becomes difficult. The coping skills you learn still matter. The days you maintain sobriety still matters. The boundaries that you set still matter. The therapy sessions you attended still matter. The healthier decisions you made still matter. The fact that you recognize that something was changing also matters. Being self aware
Yeah.
is a good thing.
Mhm. It's important. Sometimes the ability to notice that you are struggling is evidence of growth. Because think about that thing. There's a lot of people who have no idea that they're falling short and struggling, and they're just going through
Mm-hmm.
life,
Mm-hmm.
skippity skippity. And that's not where they're supposed to, it's not where they're meant to be. In the past, you may have been struggling without understanding what was happening. Now you may recognize the warning signs earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things on the crisis plan. What that we ask people questions when they're coming into service. What are signs that you're not doing well? Because I want to know if you're aware. Because if you're aware, then I'll be aware.
Mm-hmm.
What are some situations that have caused you trouble in the past?
Right.
So we know if that come up again, what to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
See you heading down that road. This was a this was a situation that you struggled with before,
Right.
right? What what does it look like if you have tried coping skills? You know what to do. You have the tools, and they just not working in this situation. What kind of support do you think will be best for you in that situation? You might notice that you are withdrawing, becoming more irritable, missing appointments, sleeping too much,
Mm-hmm.
little, thinking negatively, skipping meals, neglecting your hygiene, returning to unsafe relationships, or experiencing stronger urges to use substance. Recognizing those signs give you an opportunity to respond to the crisis before it becomes a crisis.
Yes, yes. Recovery is not about never struggling again. Recovery is about developing healthier ways to respond when the struggle returns.
Let's talk about some reasons recovery may suddenly feel difficult again. The first reason is stress overload, Iris.
Mm-hmm.
You may be trying to manage work, family, finances, parenting, caregiving, health concerns, ministry responsibilities, school, transportation issues, housing concerns, or relationship problems all at once. Even healthy coping skills can become more difficult to use when your nervous system is overwhelmed. And
My.
that's true.
Another reason is exhaustion. Sometimes people are not necessarily losing motivation, they are just tired.
That's it.
There's a difference between refusing to participate in recovery and being mentally, physical, emotionally exhausted. Exhaustion may cause you to skip meetings, cancel therapy appointments, stop preparing healthy meals, avoid phone calls, or spend more time in bed. The answer is not always to shame yourself into working harder. Sometimes the answer is to identify what support you need and what responsibilities can be reduced. And sometimes that's all it is, taking a step back to see what can I relieve myself from. Because sometimes we really are overworking ourselves, and it comes from the things that we're doing. There's a lot
Right.
of times we have pushed ourselves in all of these directions, and some we don't have to be there.
Right. That's it.
Just focus on the thing that's required of you. Sometimes you can't go help best friend. You
Hmm.
can't go help this person over here. You have to spend time on you.
And prioritize.
There you go.
Right. What's of higher importance here? Because some stuff can be put on the back burner.
There
It
you
ain't got
go.
to be dealt with right now.
hmm
Another reason is unresolved grief. Grief is not limited to death. You can
Right.
grieve the loss of a relationship, a job, a home, a friendship, a dream, a role, your health, your independence, or the future you thought you would have.
hmm
Sometimes grief becomes quiet for a while and then returns. Now, that's the truth.
Mm.
A birthday, an anniversary, a holiday, a song, a smell, a location, a photo, or a conversation can reopen emotions you thought you had already resolved. And that is
That's true. Recovery may also feel difficult because you have become disconnected to your supports.
mm,
You may have stopped attending your meetings. You may have missed therapy appointments. You may have stopped answering calls from supportive people. You may have convinced yourself that you should be able to handle everything alone. Isolation can make difficult thoughts feel louder.
sometimes we do things to ourselves. If you could handle it alone, you would have handled it.
hmm
You would have handled it on day two, because I'm gonna give you day one. You can sit in it. I give you 24 hours. But day two, three, 5, 10, and you still sitting in them same pajamas, ain't left the house, ain't went to nobody's appointments and answering calls. Obviously, it's past you now.
hmm
You need some help.
Yeah.
There may also be physical or medical factors. Changes in sleep, hormones, medications, chronic pain, illness, nutrition, or substance can affect emotional wellness.
hmm
When symptoms increase suddenly or significantly, consider speaking with a qualified medical or behavioral health professional. Do not assume that every emotional change is a character flaw.
hmm
I think that's
That's good.
that's good.
hmm
Some things are more than that. You
Yeah.
you have to take a deeper look, run some tests.
Yeah.
Things is just not you having a bad attitude or you not wanting to be bothered. It might be deeper than that.
Yeah. And sometimes recovery feels hard again because you have returned to an environment that activates old patterns. Sometimes we do self affliction to our own self.
Yes.
We return back to somewhere we didn't need to go back to.
Yep.
We already know we got hurt over there before.
Right.
We just
Yep.
keep re injuring ourselves. You may be spending time around people who do not respect your boundaries. You may be returning to locations associated with the substance use. You can't go around there down there to the bottom and under the shade tree if you know they down there doing what they were doing before when you was over there.
Okay.
You're not strong enough.
You don't have no business there.
Yeah.
And don't tell me you witnessing. Get from right away from around there. Okay?
You may be you may be reconnected with someone who repeatedly destabilized you.
Yeah.
You may be working in an environment that keeps your nervous system in survival mode. Your environment matters.
Environments matter. And
I
hard days. Oh, I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna
Go ahead.
say, I if you know that being in certain environments trigger you, why am I gonna put myself in those situations?
Mhm.
I'm already struggling now. I don't have peace of mind. I'm feeling some type of way, and I'm gonna go back to this environment where I know it's just gonna set everything off. That's probably gonna be the what breaks the camel back.
Right. Right.
So we have to know that when we're facing these difficult times, going into those environments is not the safe and healthy way. We have to find those positive supports again and link up with these people that's going to push me to my next.
Yes, which is supposed to be greater.
Yes.
A hard day is not the same as giving up. I mean, you're gonna have hard days. Are you gonna give up every time?
No, we can't.
We want to make an important distinction. Experiencing a craving is not the same as using. Having a painful thought is not the same as acting on it. Feeling depressed is not the same as refusing help. Missing one appointment is not the same as abandoning treatment. A mistake is not the same as a permanent identity. We go from one extreme to the other. One
Mhm.
simple thing, we take it and we run with it, and you shouldn't. We put our own self in some of these holes, and these have these deep seated thoughts, and because I did this one thing, I'm the worst, and that's the end. No, you've been through worse than that. For one thing,
Mhm.
you've been called worse than that. People have thought less of you, and you're still here. That's the part.
Yeah.
My recovery isn't for someone else. I don't care who you thought I was, who I used to be. That is not who I am now.
Mhm. However, guys, we also do not want to minimize warning signs. A hard day needs attention before it becomes a hard week, a hard month, or a full crisis. Recovery requires honesty. You may need to ask yourself, what has changed recently?
Mm.
What warning signs am I noticing? What am I avoiding? What have I stopped? Who have I stopped talking to? What coping skills have stopped using? Am I taking my medication as prescribed? Am I being honest with my therapist, my sponsor, my doctor, my treatment team? Am I am I placing myself in an environment that increase risk? These are all wonderful questions to ask yourself when you feel like you're in a bad situation. Like you said, if you're having a bad day, we don't want it to get to a hard week, a hard month, until it develops to be a full blown out crisis.
Right.
So these are good questions to ask yourself
They
to
are.
try to face it head on before it becomes anything bigger than it needs to be.
There's always warning signs and flags.
Yes, yes, always.
Sometimes we just choose not to acknowledge them, or to see,
Hmm.
we want to have blinders up. You knew this week was going probably not go well when you got that email when you woke up on Monday. So you should have already started saying, okay, I see where this is going. Let me go ahead and make sure I have my
Hmm.
tools in my
Hmm.
toolbox. How am I going to handle this? Let me go ahead and say this prayer. Let me go ahead and make sure I have something positive to do it once I clock out, because I'm not taking this with me this week. Honesty is not punishment. Honesty is protection.
Hmm.
You cannot receive support from something you are not working hard to hide. There may be shame attached to admitting that you are struggling again, but you may fear disappointing the people who celebrated your progress. If you celebrated my progress and you know what I've gone through, you should also know that tests and trials are still going to come up, and I'm
Hmm.
going to struggle sometimes. I might be a little weak this week. Maybe I ain't have enough water. I might be a little dehydrated, and I didn't have all the strength I need to face it. So if I call you and say, "Man, a struggle came up. I just wanna I just need somebody to bear witness with me." Don't judge me because of that. Be there to support me, get me through it. Say, hey, we I was there for you when we had to face this thing head on. So we're gonna do this again. Don't forget. Let's go over reminders of the progress you make. Whatever it takes.
Hmm.
Support me. Don't call it out.
That's
But when
good.
But the people who genuinely care about your recovery would rather know that you are struggling than discover later that you were suffering alone. And that is very true.
And if you have experienced a reoccurrence of symptoms of return substance use, do not allow shame to convince you that you cannot return to support. A setback needs interventions, not isolation.
Yes.
You may need to reconnect with your treatment, increase your level of support, attend additional meetings, complete a new assessment, create a stronger safety plan, remove access to substances, or temporarily distance yourself from triggering environments.
Yeah. The next healthy decision still matters. Even after a setback, you can make another healthy decision. You can make a you can make a call. You can tell the truth. You can return to a meeting. You can schedule an appointment. You can remove yourself from an unsafe environment. You can ask someone to stay with you. You can begin again. That's the thing. Life hasn't ended. Guess what? I woke up this morning, breath in my lungs, my feet on the ground. That means I got another chance to try again. Ain't God good?
Yes, he is. This is a good place to pause and remind you guys to subscribe to the YouTube channel that is H3C PLLC. Again, H3C PLLC. If this conversation is helping you, please like the episode, share it with someone who needs encouragement.
And leave us a comment. You might comment, a difficult season does not erase my progress. Or tell us one healthy step you're choosing this week. Your story does not have to include private details. Sometimes one sentence is enough to remind another person that recovery is possible.
Yes, it is.
So, Iris, let's discuss some practical steps. The
Okay.
first step is naming it, right? What has happened? Instead of saying, I'm just failing, try to identify the actual experience. You might say, I have been feeling more depressed for the last 2 weeks. My cravings have increased since the argument with my family. I've been isolating because I feel embarrassed. I stopped attending therapy after missing one appointment. I'm overwhelmed by financial stress. I have been thinking about returning to an unhealthy relationship because I feel lonely. Specific language helps you identify specific support. People can't help you if you don't know what the problem is. And that's
Mm-hmm.
not your problem. Don't just say, I'm struggling this week. What are you struggling with? What
Yeah.
is it?
Yes. Yes.
So we know how to help you. I, the people who just put up pray for me on social, what am I praying for? We have to be specific. We want this thing to reach heaven and for him to answer it. So what are we praying for? What is it that you actually need? Be specific so that you can get specific help.
Second step, return to the basics. That's a lot we need. When people feel overwhelmed, they may feel the need to try to fix everything at once. Instead, return to the fundam- instead return to the foundational parts of your recovery.
Mhm.
Eating something nourishing, drinking water, taking prescribed medication that's directed, getting your rest, take a shower, go outside, attend one meeting, call one safe person, complete one task, remove one trigger. Recovery may need to become smaller and more manageable for a while.
That's good. It don't have to be big. It can just be
No.
minor steps, right? The third step is reconnect with support before you feel ready. Waiting until you feel motivated can be dangerous because motivation may be low during periods of depression,
Mhm.
anxiety, and substance cravings. You may need to act before your feelings change. Send the text, make the call, attend the appointment, tell someone I'm having a difficult time and that I do not need you to fix everything. I need support.
That's good. Next step, review your recovery plan. A plan that worked 6 months ago may not be enough for what you currently are facing.
That's good.
Ask yourself, do I need frequent therapy? Do I need medication evaluation? Do I need a support group? Do I need to change my daily routine? Do I need additional accountability? Do I need to reduce contact with certain people? Do I need help with housing, employment, transportation, finance, or medical care? Mental health and substance use recovery are affected by basic life needs. It is difficult to focus on emotional healing when you do not feel safe and stable. And that is so true. Most of the time, that's where substance use come in and increase when you're dealing with lack of, you may not have the housing,
Right.
employment, transportation, your finances is looking crazy, health concerns. That is the time when people normally mental health and substance abuse increase.
That's right. The fifth step is to reduce access to what could harm your recovery.
Mm,
That may involve removing alcohol or substances from your home. It may mean blocking a phone number. It
mhm,
may mean avoiding a certain location. It may mean giving medications, weapons, or other dangerous items to trusted people for safekeeping when appropriate. It may mean not carrying extra cash if access to money increases the risk of substance use. It may mean changing your route home. Do
mhm.
not rely only on willpower when you can also change the environment. Listen,
That was good.
you got to know that you know who you are. And if certain things, be honest with yourself about certain things, situations. I love the part if not carrying cash around, if you know if I got the money in my pocket and I know where the man is, I can go get
Mhm,
what I need.
mhm,
That's accountability.
mhm.
You got to hold yourself accountable for some stuff. If it's gonna take me 30 more minutes to go home, cause I needed to go down, travel a different route instead of the normal route I used to take, then I'm gonna do that. Cause we talking about healing and deliverance. We talking about
Mhm.
it's a second by second, minute by minute, hour by hour, day by day recovery. It doesn't stop. This something it's got to be a routine where it's rooted and grounded, and it's like it's as easy as opening your eyes in the morning.
Mhm. The sixth step, create a plan for the next 24 hours. When recovery feels overwhelmed, thinking about the rest of your life may feel impossible. Focus on the next day. Where will you be? Who will you contact? What will you eat? What appointment will you attend? What triggers you should avoid? What will you do if cravings or unsafe thoughts increase? What who can help you remain accountable? Sometimes recovery is not about having a perfect month.
Right.
It's about safely making it through the next hour and then the next.
That's right. Shame often says you should be further along by now, but recovery does not follow a universal schedule. Someone else's progress is not the measurement of your healing. You may be tempted to compare yourself to someone who appears stronger, happier, or stable, or further along. Remember that you do not know their entire story. Stop putting yourself up against other people.
You have
'Cause
to.
we don't, what they show us on the outside, they're representative. We have no idea what's going on behind closed doors or
Mhm.
internally or what it took, the hurdle. We don't know. Go at your own pace. Do what's best for you.
Shame can also cause people to hide. You may avoid meetings because you do not want to explain where you have been. You may avoid your therapist because you did not complete the assignment. You may avoid family because you made the decision you regret. But avoidance usually gives shame more power. Supportive accountability sounds like this: yes, I made harmful decisions and I'm willing to take the responsibility. Yes, I stopped following my plan and I need help restarting it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm embarrassed, but I don't want embarrassment to keep me trapped. Listen, when you get to that point, that shows you ready to do the work.
That's right.
You got to make up in your mind that you're not going to let fear, shame, the bad choices that you may have made, as that one movie say, making poor decisions. You got to understand that that doesn't define you. You
Right.
can keep right on going on. And I don't care what people may think of you. As they said, you got to get past public opinion.
And
Think about, you got to be happy within.
yes, that's good. Self comparison does not mean executing harmful behavior. Excusing harmful behavior. It means telling yourself the truth without emotionally destroying yourself. You can acknowledge the consequences of a decision while still believing that change is possible. You can say, I'm responsible for what I did, but I'm not beyond help. I experienced a setback, but I can return to treatment. I'm struggling, but I'm still worthy to support. I do not have to punish myself in order to prove that I am sorry. Now, that's a big one.
Mhm.
You don't. Showing, just doing better lets me know that you're sorry and you're not trying to go back to that again. And
Yeah.
even if you do, acknowledging I had a setback, but I'm getting right back on track.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's not about the fall. It's how you get up.
That's it.
And what you do once you get up.
Recovery grows through responsibility, being honest, support, consistent action, not through humiliation.
That's right. And some of you may be listening because someone you care about is having a difficult time in recovery right now. You may feel frustrated, afraid, disappointed, or unsure what to say, and that can be a difficult situation to be in.
Hmm.
Support does not mean ignoring harmful behavior. It also does not mean taking complete responsibility for another adult's recovery. It is not your job.
Right, right. You can say, I care about you, and I have noticed that you seem to be struggling. I am willing to help you connect with support. I cannot participate in behavior that is unsafe or harmful. I will support your recovery, but I cannot hide or enable the problem.
It's good.
I am concerned about your safety.
All of that's good. And you want to avoid making promises you can't keep.
That's great. Because they're going to remember that.
Yes. Do not promise secrecy if someone is at immediate risk of harming themselves or another person. Do not provide money when you believe it may be used to support substance use. Do not allow fear to prevent you from setting boundaries. You can be compassionate and still have limits,
Mm-hmm.
right? I
Mm-hmm.
I think about that time when I was in the car and I was at a stop sign and a guy was on the side of the street panhandling and he asked for money and I had just came from Pizza Hut. I brought a pizza and I rolled down my window and I said, I don't have any money, but I'll give you this pizza. That means I don't want that pizza. And I can only offer you the help that I have. Now, whether you accept it, whether the person accepts it, is on them. And now,
Mm-hmm.
like I say, I'm not going to give you something if I'm not sure if it's going to put you at risk.
Right, right.
Offering you food is not going to put you at risk. But if you have a substance issue and you're on the side of the road and you seem to be struggling, I don't know what you're doing with this money. I'll go in the grocery store and buy you something before I give you some money because I don't want to be, I don't want to know how it feels if something happens to you because of something I did,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Like the money you gave him could contribute to him, or that person overdosing or
Right.
taking. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's encourage professional help.
Yes.
Offer to sit with the person while they're making a call. Help them identify a treatment provider, crisis service, recovery meeting, trusted faith leader sponsor, peer support, peer support specialist, or a safe family member. But remember that you cannot force long term recovery through love alone.
That's right.
The individual must eventually participate in this process. This is something that they will have to want.
Yeah. For themselves. For those who connect recovery with faith, there may be moments when you wonder why you are struggling again after praying, believing, and working so hard. A difficult season does not necessarily mean your faith is weak. It does not mean that God has abandoned you. It does not mean that therapy failed. It does not mean that recovery is impossible.
Faith and professional support can work together.
Yes.
Prayer can be part of your recovery plan, and so can therapy. Scripture can encourage you, and medication may help stabilize your symptoms. Your church community may provide support, and you may also need a licensed professional or structured treatment program. You do not have to choose between spiritual support and clinical care.
Sometimes faith looks like believing that you are still worth helping. Sometimes faith looks like calling your therapist. Sometimes faith looks like returning to a meeting after a setback.
Mhm.
Sometimes faith looks like telling the truth. Sometimes faith looks like getting out of bed, taking your medication, eating a meal, and trying again tomorrow. That's real.
Mhm. Beginning again is not a proof that you're weak. Beginning again is not proof that you have not completed surrender.
It's not. And before we close, let's take a moment to ask yourself. Take a moment to ask yourself, what part of my recovery has become difficult again? What warning signs have I been ignoring? What support do I need to reconnect with? What is one healthy decision I can make today?
Do not focus only on how far you feel you have fallen. Remember how much you have learned. Remember the skills you have developed. Remember the people who are willing to support you. Remember that one difficult season does not have the authority to rewrite the entire story.
I love that. You are not starting from nothing. You are starting again with experience. That's a positive way to look at it.
Mhm.
You know more than you knew before. You may recognize the warning signs sooner. You may understand your triggers more clearly. You may know who to call. Use what you have learned.
And if you're experiencing thoughts of harming yourself or someone else, feel unable to remain safe, or experiencing severe withdrawal symptoms, or in a immediate mental health crisis, seek emergency assistance right away. Please contact your local emergency service, go to your nearest emergency department, or reach out to the appropriate crisis resource in your area. Do not remain alone with an immediate safety concern.
And remember, this podcast provides general education and encouragement. It is not a substitute for individualized medical, mental health, substance use, or emergency care.
Thank you guys for joining episode 27 of Well Life Wednesday podcast, when recovery feels hard again.
Subscribe to our H3CP LLC YouTube channel so that you don't miss future conversations. Please like this episode, share it with your family, your friends, your church community, recovery community, or anyone who may need encouragement.
And please leave a comment telling us one healthy step you are choosing. Remember, you do not have to pretend that recovery is easy in order to remain committed to it.
A difficult day does not erase your progress. A setback does not become your final destination. You can reach out, you can return to support, you can make another decision, and you can begin again.
We'll see you next week for another Well Life Wednesday. Bye, guys.
Body